So this video is going to start off by going through our field service. We're going to jump into our project tab first. When you see our field service project here, it's tied in with our field service app. I can click directly into our task. We see the number of tasks associated with that. I can click in and see an overview of the overall revenue and costs associated with the project field service. But I'm going to jump in and we see we have one task so far in our field service project. I can also create another one here. So if I had another calibration, then I could specify the customer. So if it's a new customer, specify it here. And you can expand your customer, see all their information directly from this little button here. And add. So now we have two calibrations in the new column. We can add columns here depending on how you want your workflow to go through the stages. So I'm going to click on this one. And I can assign this to, so as the manager, I can assign to another employee. I can specify if it's going to be a recurring event. And then we see down here, we can repeat every month, every year, depending on how you want that to be specified. So it'll show you down here when those next states will occur. So I'm going to show you monthly, and then you can specify if it's going to be every 1 month, every 2 months, what have you, and what date you want it to be on. And for a number of repetitions, a specific date and time, or just continually for the foreseeable future. So we can save that. I can start the service and specify like the time directly from here. So I could have my tablet open, click start, stop the time. You can specify what the minimum duration is. For me, I put 15 minutes. So I'm just going to do calibrate first product. And then we have that pop up down here in the time. The other thing we can do is specify the hours planned. So before you even record your time, the manager can specify how much time is planned and that can be pulled in from the field service line as well on the sales order. And then if you invoice after the fact, then we can populate this afterwards with our invoice. We can also go into our Timesheets app. It's a mobile phone app, and you're able to record your time directly from that. So if you're in the field, you can easily schedule the time that way or record the time that way. And this is just a view of the mobile phone app. I can add time. And then that way, when we go back to our project, the manager can see how much time has been spent on that specific task for that customer. So now that we go back to our timesheet here, we see that we have 45 hours spent and that we're 38% done with our 2 hours for this customer. So the other way is by going directly onto the line. You can use this with a tablet. The view will change depending on what size screen you're using. So it's very easy to use with a touch screen, such as like a iPad or a tablet. So let's say we did that, and then we did this for an hour and 15. So now it's showing that we have 0 remaining hours. We 100% hit our 2 hours plan for that. When I save this, the employee can click here and fill out the worksheet. Depending on what you want the worksheet to have and consist of, you can specify that here. You can also do it in the settings. It's very simple to do. So for example, if we wanted a measurement reading with a decimal, I could drag this field here, and then we could easily specify that field. And then say, for example, we wanted another text field here, and then we want that, say, serial number of tool. We could specify that. And then if we wanted, for example, the decimal reading, maybe a measurement, something like that, reading. So maybe we wanted that there. And then even if you wanted, for example, a signature field that the employee can sign off on. So very easy to handle your view and create what you need to for this. So for example, we do, say, for example, we did have that serial number and we, for whatever measurement we did was 5.5 millimeter. And then our employee is going to sign here. And then we save that. So, oops, it's because I put in the millimeter. There we go. And now it's perfect. And then when we go back to the calibration, we see the worksheet has been complete. Um, Now we can have the customer sign a report saying we completed the service if that's what you want to do. Um, it's on the portal so they can actually go in from their computer and handle it. They can also do it directly from their email. So they'll sign here. And then we'll go back to our task, and then we can mark as done. Now we can create the invoice, and now we have the invoice for the service on the timesheet. We can confirm the invoice. It's posted now as a posted invoice, and we can um, now send and print to our customer here. And since I created this customer on the fly, I'm going to specify it, and then we're going to print it as a PDF or preview it as a PDF. It'll show up here in the chatter, and then we have the invoice attached. So when we send and print, the customer has access to pay the invoice directly from the customer portal. So we have that total here, and then we have down here our chatter showing that we sent the email. The invoice is now a posted invoice, and our journal entries were created from that invoice. So we have a sale and accounts receivable. And then now from here, we see that we have the invoice associated with the calibration. We see that we have um, the task recurring. So that will create a new task. And then from here, we show that it's now in the done stage. So we can move on to this next one. When it recurs again, it will move back into the new stage and show you that you have another task to complete.